All right, do you have sound? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? All right, should be able to hear us now. Drop a comment if you can hear us.
Mic check. Mic check.
Give me a mic check one more time, Justin.
Mic check.
All right, you can hear us now? Yes. Okay. Awesome. All right. So, but basically, we just answered. Stephen Walker's question. Stephen Walker's question was, will it be safe for him to drive on Sunday morning? And so we were showing the temperatures from Friday. Any precipitation that falls Friday will likely freeze over if it has melted by then, and going into Saturday, looks like we'll get above freezing. I'll go back and show you all this here. Saturday we'll get above freezing, but barely, and that's also going to highly depend on what falls and if it's still around on Saturday, because if we still have a bunch of ice around, that also helps keep the air temperature cooler. So those temperatures could be like 3 degrees lower, but we're going to try to melt what we can on Saturday before we refreeze Saturday night. I think it will be okay to drive Sunday morning. Just be careful and just watch out for any spots of black ice, especially an area where water likes to collect, and because it will freeze.
Those shady areas as well.
Yeah, shady areas especially. Yeah. Or if you're driving over grass, which I don't think you will be, but if you're driving on the pavement. But hopefully it's okay for you to drive Sunday morning. I think it will be, but just be careful of those slick spots, especially over bridges and overpasses. And we're just going to move on to our next question here by Kaylee Thompson. She says, what's the likelihood places in Athens see a power outage? If any, how long do people normally go without power? Now, we can answer the first part of that question a little bit here by just explaining some of the impacts that we could see from this. With it beginning as snow is most of the time no problem. There's travel impacts. You can't really go anywhere. What we're concerned about is the ice potential. And I'll pull up our ice accumulation forecast map here. So here's our ice accumulation forecast map, and you can see it roll through Athens here. So this is just what falls as freezing rain or sleet, and that accumulates on the ground. What we do not want is ice. Snow is all fun and games, plenty of songs about it, but there's no songs about freezing rain. Because that rain falls and then it freezes, because at the surface we are below or at 32 degrees freezing, and so it'll start accumulating on power lines. It'll start accumulating on tree limbs, and those tree limbs could fall on power lines, or the weight of the ice could also cause those power lines to fall as well. So if any, we could see a few spotty power outages, scattered power outages. Now, 1/3 of an inch may not sound like a lot, but it is enough when it comes to talking about the weight of ice and the weight of water itself falling, and it can itself cause power outages. And so that is a concern of ours. What we've been telling people is just that make sure you have enough food and water through Sunday, and you'll be fine. Just in case you lose power for a couple days and Georgia Power can't get to you at that point, but make sure you have enough food and water through Sunday for all scenarios. We aren't expecting a ton of people to lose power, but it can happen. All right. Justin, is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. I think temperatures going into Saturday and Sunday is going to do the job and melt all that ice, especially on the power lines and on the trees. So I would imagine that not a whole lot of power outages will be extending past Sunday. And yeah, the wind is going to be doing a good job to get rid of all that water on the ground Saturday, as it most likely melts going into Saturday afternoon. So I agree. I do think if you can make it through Sunday, if you have food, water to get you through Sunday, yes, you will be fine.
All right, we're going to move on to our next question. Melanie Ford says she has to be in Atlanta for a work trip Saturday afternoon. Would it be best for her to go tonight versus Saturday? Melanie, yes, go tonight. That's all I have to say for that. Go tonight. And then we have another question. Chris Fillingham says, with forecast changing, when do you think the ice will start? Now, this is one of the biggest questions that we have to answer, or trying to answer for the day ahead going into Friday. And it's one of the most complicated questions to try and answer as well. But we're going to try and at least give you a range of that, because it all depends on this system and how much warm air we really get, and that's when we'll change over from snow to ice. So we'll show you one forecast model here. This is what we call the graph. And as we move forward in time, the graph has us starting off as snow sometime early Friday morning. Starting off as snow, yay, pretty, it's white, it's fluffy, it's falling out of the sky before that warm nose hits. Now, I do want to say, the snow, what you see here in the blue and the whitish color, that is snow. The pink is a wintry mix / freezing rain. That's not the fun stuff. This particular model keeps Athens pretty well into the snow up until Friday afternoon. Don't pinpoint the time here in particular. I'm gonna say it's Friday afternoon. Anytime after lunch, we will probably be switching over to ice. Now we could get lucky and stay in the snow a little bit longer. Now I would like that as well. I know a lot of you would like that as well. But I do believe at some point in the afternoon, Athens will begin to switch over to ice, as told by this one particular model. Justin, I'll let you pick up here as I move forward in time.
I gotcha. So really the biggest thing to take away is really right after lunchtime is when we could really start seeing some of that switch for a decent amount of North Georgia here, except for up here in the mountains. There's a good chance that will stay snow. But the rest of us, from Athens all the way to Canton to Atlanta, we will be picking up on that wintry mix probably from lunchtime all the way into towards your evening time. Then evening time, about 4 to 5 o'clock, some of us might even start catching a break. Some of us might even have a little bit of a white yard by 6 o'clock, and then a couple lingering snow showers and whatnot in Athens. Probably just getting a couple rounds of freezing rain and sleet and whatnot going into Friday evening, late Friday evening. But by midnight, everything will most likely be clearing up. Those winds most likely picking up too. And if it's not frozen, it will be frozen at this point.
Exactly. What I can say is that by Saturday morning at midnight or Friday night, midnight, the transition point between Friday and Saturday, we should be clearing out. It should be getting out of here pretty fast. Everything should be out of here, but the roads and the impacts will have been done. It will be slick outside. So just because it's gone doesn't mean you need to try and go somewhere. But we're also going to show you a different model here as well to try to time it out for you again to show you how hard this is. This particular model has Athens receiving snow starting at 6 a.m. or before then. I like to treat the models as an idea, not as gospel. So this is an idea as well. So Friday, 6 a.m., okay, started as snow. We'll transition over to wintry mix. Maybe, maybe not. It's trying to hang on to us in the snow, and then all of that goes out the window by the time we get into the afternoon. So that's why I'm saying sometime in the afternoon again. So if I were to try to nail down an hour range for you, I'd be saying sometime between 1 and 4 o'clock is the best chance for us to switch over to ice, if that helps you out as well.
Yeah, I agree with that, Malik. I think the biggest thing to take away is snow in the morning, probably from 8 to 9, early morning, probably right after your commute is when the heavier snow is going to be coming in. Maybe before that, a flurry or two towards the western part of our state. And then that will persist for a couple hours going into your lunchtime, 12 to 1. Then that's when that wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain can start coming in for much of North Georgia and Athens. So yes, sir, I agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to shout out to one of our viewers that are watching on YouTube right now. They said snow is still difficult to predict, but easier than it was years ago. I also agree with that. It is very, very difficult to try and predict. We'll move on to our next question now here from Kim Durden. She said she is supposed to go to work Friday evening at 7 p.m. Athens to Commerce. What should the weather look like? Not good. Not good at all, Kim. It's not looking good. If you absolutely have to go to work, I would be very, very careful. If you have a four-wheel drive vehicle, use it. if you put chains on if you have chains, put them on your tires, use it. But that is if you absolutely 100% have to go to work on Friday evening at 7 p.m. Avoid travel at all from 7 a.m. or let's say from 5 a.m. Friday morning to, let's say, noon Saturday. Avoid any travel if you can because of how slick the roads could be, the ice and the potential for that on the roads as well. It's just going to be really dangerous unless travel is absolutely necessary. And if it is, drive carefully and drive slowly. You got anything to add to that, Justin?
Dude, you hit them all, man. Absolutely. Drive slowly, four-wheel drive, an off-road type tire, an aggressive tire. That will definitely be your best friend if you have to move going into Friday and even early morning Saturday. And by the time Saturday afternoon hits, I would say a fair amount of that ice is probably starting to melt, but it could refreeze overnight Saturday night, so don't forget about that. So Sunday could be the same issue, but really Saturday morning, I would say after 12 p.m., just like Malik said, yes. I think after that, you guys will be safe to travel, but still proceed with caution even after 12 p.m. because even in some isolated shady areas, you guys could find a couple ice patches as well.
Natalie on Facebook says, what time will the rain and snow come into Athens? It's a bit of a different question than what we just had, but it's very similar indeed. Natalie, you may have to get up early if you want to see the very first bits of this. What you see here by the herd, that very light white that you're seeing at 5:30 and 6 o'clock, that may be precipitation falling out of the sky, but it may not be reaching the ground because we are very, very, very dry. I don't know if you stepped outside today and your lips got really chapped, but that is because of how dry the air is right now. And so when that falls into it, it's going to evaporate at first until it gets heavy enough and there's enough of it, and then the air will get a little bit more saturated and most of it will start hitting the ground. So when the rain and snow will come into Athens, let's see here. When will the rain and snow come into Athens? When will the fun begin? We'll take a glance here. I'm going to say somewhere between 5 and 7 a.m. That's what most of the models are saying here. I just put that there just to give you a little picture in your head of what it might look like, but somewhere between 5 and 7 a.m. is a bit of a good idea of what we're thinking here, between 5 and 7 a.m., if that answers your question.
And keep in mind, this will most likely start out as very light precipitation, light flurries, snow flurries, and as you go on through the morning, it will start ramping up in intensity. As you can see, the heavier snow at about 6 a.m. This model's idea is thinking it will start moving its way towards Athens and get progressively heavier as you go in through the morning. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And we got more questions here. Gene, y'all in the comments, if I'm saying your name wrong, please correct me, and then I'll say your name right. Is there, Gene Biddle, correct me, please. Is there still a chance that this system may surprise the current forecasters and provide more snow than ice? Well, I think you're all saying what's on our mind here. Is that's what we want. I have to prevent myself from trying to wish cast more snow than ice. I'm trying to be real with y'all. I really do want snow, more snow on this forecast. But it's really, really tough because we're going to have some warm air coming in from the south that's going to prevent us from having an all-snow event. Now, there is a possibility. It's not a huge possibility. It's a less than 10% chance that maybe the models are overdoing the warmth in the air and maybe we end up in snow a little longer. Being in snow a little longer will help us stay in snow longer. So, hey, we can all hope and pray as well, but we're going to try to give you the most realistic scenario here, Gene, that we think will most likely happen.
You know, unfortunately, I do agree with Malik, but there is some cause for concern that this could actually happen. Right now, the system is already trying to overperform a little bit towards our west, so maybe that's a sign that we could see a little bit more than what the models are actually saying. And as well as we do have a decent snowpack to the west, so that could funnel a little bit more colder air into our area. So we do have some reason to believe that it is non-zero for this to actually happen, but I do agree. This, if any more than that, it is probably wish casting, but we do have a very small but limited chance that we do see really only snow for everybody here in North Georgia.
And Stephanie, you hit the nail on the head. So she says, so basically, if we want to play in the snow, we need to get out there in the morning. Yep. Yeah, I will be out there in the morning. So, because especially if it turns over into rain and freezing rain, it's going to get really messy really fast. And I want to be able to enjoy some snow before it disappears again for another 4 years. So yes, Stephanie, correct. Angela Smith Martin, she says, what is the best time for kids to play in the snow as far as accumulation goes? So we said in the morning, right? But let's try and get you like an hourly range here of a time that you can go play in the snow. We said we might start seeing snow somewhere between 5 and 7 in its onset. Really more likely to start around 6 a.m. So let's say anytime from 7 to noon in the morning. Gotta be in the morning. I would say get up at 8, have you some hot chocolate, maybe pull on the Polar Express and pretend it's Christmas. But get outside and around 8, enjoy all you can before the temperature tries to come up. And definitely get the kids up, wake the kids up. Maybe they got a day off school, but it's time for them to get up if they want to play in the snow before maybe some other precip types start falling out of the sky like sleet and freezing rain. If y'all don't know what that is, we can explain that for you. Just drop a comment in there and we'll get to that for you in a sec. Chintan, I'm sorry, I'm murdering your name right now, but will the snow flurry stay through the morning? Unfortunately, they will not. This system is going to be in and out. It will be gone by midnight. Most of it will be gone by midnight. Maybe some flurries sticking around about 2, 3, 4 a.m., but most of it will be gone by midnight.
Really the biggest reason of that is we are going to have more of a wintry mix after we get all that snow. So that's going to be washing it away and turning it into a big mess for much of North Georgia, except the mountains up here. You guys could be seeing a little bit more of that. You guys definitely have a higher chance for really seeing just snow, maybe that sticking around a little bit past midnight. But for all of us here in North Georgia, the rest of us, I agree. I do not think we are going to be seeing a whole lot sticking around after this event is over.
And Rajnesh, he says, should we be worried about power cuts or something like that? And we showed you guys the ice accumulation map. This is probably the biggest concern to worry about. No, not probably. This is the biggest concern. Is the ice accumulations through Friday night. This is the number one concern. I know 1/3 of an inch might not sound like a lot, Rajnesh, but that is enough to knock down a couple power lines, some old trees, and some old tree limbs as well. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is more than enough, especially if it comes down, and that's enough to cause, you get some accidents, people on the roads, because if you have snowfall, I'll show you guys our snow accumulation map here by one of our models. This would all be snow before ice, or even mixed in with it, with freezing rain. So let's say we get 2 inches of snow and then we get that much ice on top. That is a recipe for some power outages. We aren't expecting scattered power outages or a ton of them, but we are saying we wouldn't be surprised to see multiple people without power, and we're saying just be prepared to be without power until at least Sunday or Monday. Have enough food till Sunday at least. You probably won't be able to go anywhere until Sunday. Just be prepared to hunker down inside, not go anywhere. Go play outside, but be prepared for hazardous travel conditions through Sunday. Let's see here. Shannon Donald. 1. Go Dogs. Go Dogs, Shannon. She said, can you tell me what's predicted in Morgan County? Because we keep getting mixed forecasts being right on I-20. Yes, Shannon, you are probably right where the least amount of confidence in forecast and what will happen is. I can tell you this, Shannon. You currently are sitting within the winter storm warning, but sitting just north of I-20, and it's one of the biggest areas of uncertainties. I will say you just got to keep updated. Everyone's going to try to tell you what to expect. You're probably going to get snow. But then it'll probably quickly transition into ice, freezing rain, sleet, the whole wintry mix, all of it. And maybe a little bit of rain towards the end.
Yeah, I agree with that, Malik. I think the biggest thing to take away is if you're up here in the north, I think that snow has a chance to hang on for a little bit longer, starting in the morning time, really persist as you go in towards noon, maybe even after going into your afternoon hours, maybe 1, 2, 3 o'clock, especially up here in the Blue Ridge Mountains. You guys could be hanging on to it for a lot longer than the rest of us. But as we go south, especially towards I-20, he did say it's very uncertain. Well, there's a reason why. So as we go into the earlier part of the morning hours, it will start as more snow, but we are not quite sure when that warm nose is going to be sticking its nose right into North Georgia. So we're going to have to take a little bit more time and get a little bit more familiar with some of the newer model runs to be more precise on that. But for now, as we go into the southern part of North Georgia, right along I-20, snow, most likely in the morning. It will not last quite as long as up here in the northern parts. So as you go south in the region, expect a little bit less snow time, a little bit more wintry mix in freezing rain and sleet, and maybe even a really cold rain time as you go on through into the afternoons of Friday.
And I mentioned that winter storm warning, right? Do y'all know what that is? We're just going to make sure that everyone knows what that is, what that means. We know there's a winter storm coming, but do we understand why the National Weather Service issued a winter storm warning? We have this here to help us with that as well. This is our winter weather products graphic. And so basically, we were in a winter weather advisory earlier. That's when they issue that. It's kind of like it's a little less than a tornado watch. It's like a hey, look out. Hey, we might issue a watch later, and then might issue a warning. So we weren't, and then we were in that winter storm watch. It's because conditions were favorable, but now conditions are expected. And because Morgan County's in that winter storm watch, we want you to plan for up to 2 inches of snow. We think you're on the lower end there, but I don't think you'll get 2 inches of snow in Morgan County. If you do, that's awesome. Plan for a half an inch of sleet and maybe a quarter inch of freezing rain. That's what we want you to plan for. And you might be just in those categories. You don't really have to plan for more than that. Maybe an inch and a half of snow, a tenth of an inch of freezing rain. In Morgan County, something like that is what you want to prepare for within that winter storm warning on that southern end down there. And Melanie, she says, I am driving to Atlanta for a work meeting tonight to avoid snow. Will ice melt on roads Saturday afternoon? We have to drive to our work location from my friend's house to downtown. Not sure of afternoon temps for Atlanta. All right, so let's pull up our temp graphic again. And we'll go to Saturday afternoon. So, of course, we're going to freeze again Friday night after the system pulls through. And as we go through Saturday morning, we're going to try to get up to the upper 30s in Saturday afternoon. Again, this is all dependent on how much frozen stuff is still on the ground. If there's still frozen stuff on the ground, then it's going to be really, really hard for those temperatures to get back above freezing. Hopefully, if you're traveling on the major highways, those should be good. I know the local governments are out there, they're trying to get the roads prepped and everything so that if you have to travel, you can. I think wait, if you have to be back, wait as long as you can on Saturday. Don't wait till dark. Don't wait too long, though. About 2 p.m. on Saturday. You see about 1 p.m., it's at least 36 in Atlanta, 39 in Covington, 39 in Athens. That's enough to have stuff melt, but there still will be some slick spots. So still, be careful. Be as careful as you possibly can. Let's see here. Natalie says, my son's Porter, sorry if I got that wrong. Porter and Beck have a question to ask. Wants to know if you can shout out to them and will be there. Shout out to them, and there will be enough to build a snowman tomorrow and sled. Thanks. Whew, that is a tough question, Natalie. Not sure where you're from, but at least in the Athens area, if you get out early enough, I think pure willpower will help you build a snowman. If you can get enough snow from maybe your neighbor's yard, your yard, and depending on how big your yard is, and going forward through the day, if you get out there right as we hit 2 inches, get yourself a small snowman. I once built a snowman with 2 inches of snow once back in 2010. So I think if you put your mind to it, Porter, you and Beck, you got it.
No, I agree with you, Malik. I did build a snowman on top of a random person's car with about an inch a couple of years ago. So it's definitely possible around here in Athens. You just have to be pretty creative with where you're going to be when you're trying to build that said snowman. But I definitely think up here in the mountains will definitely be your best spot for snow. Northeast Georgia, northwest Georgia, up there in the mountains as well. Those are going to be your best spots for snowman building activities.
Absolutely. We want you all to continue sending your questions if you still have any as well. There's one more question I may have missed earlier. I'm going to go find it. Let's see. We had a question earlier. John Ware says, please tell me neither totally dry nor totally ice. Well, I can tell you, it's not going to be dry, and it's not going to be all ice. We're looking at a complete mixed bag.
WeatherDawgs paradox.
Exactly. A complete mixed bag of wintry precipitation is going to fall on Athens. If you all have any more questions, please go ahead and send them in the chat. We're going to answer those as soon as we can. We enjoy being here for y'all and supporting y'all in North Georgia.
Yes, sir. To repeat, I do think Athens is definitely going to be seeing a fair amount of a wintry fun tomorrow, especially towards the early part of the day. After that, it's not going to be too much fun, but we will be seeing some of that wintry precipitation start up after 12. And by wintry precipitation, I mean sleet, freezing rain, and maybe just some really cold rain as well. That's not going to be any stuff that you want to get in and play in. Most of that snow will be coming before 12 o'clock, before lunch. You're going to have to get up early to experience this snow of 2025, I believe.
All right, and I'm going to go back to our watches, warnings, and advisory graphic because I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all have questions when you see stuff pop up on your phone you may have never heard before. And we'll just go through and explain what this is. And I'll actually start with the ice storm warning, which is one of the things that we're really concerned about is the amount of freezing rain that could happen here, and that is certainly possible. I'll move out of the way because my big head is in the way. So an ice storm warning is when you have a 1/4 inch of freezing rain or more expected, or currently creating significant impact. So we wouldn't really see this until the day of, but some models are depicting us to have a 1/4 of an inch of ice, at least here in the Athens area. And the greatest area of concern is right around the greater Atlanta metro area east towards Athens. So anywhere in between, like Lawrenceville, Loganville, Madison, Georgia, this includes you, Watkinsville, all those places in between as well could see significant ice amounts if what we're seeing comes to fruition. So we want you to just be on top of this tomorrow, have your weather alerts on. This is especially why we're saying don't go anywhere after tonight. After 2 a.m. tonight, don't go anywhere because hazardous travel conditions will be on the roadways as this begins. So what is a winter weather advisory? That is for further south of us. down towards Macon, they're in a winter weather advisory now. They're not expected to get a lot. They're going to get an onset of snow and then probably go to all rain. The disgusting, normal, warm rain that doesn't make snowmen and you can't sled on. But you can water ski on it. And then the winter storm watch, which we were in, it was just, hey, look out. Hey, Friday's the day. Conditions are favorable for 2 or more inches of snow and half an inch of sleet or more, or quarter inch of freezing rain or greater. That's your, hey, look out. It's a weather impact day. And then winter storm warning, expected conditions of 2 or more inches of snow and half an inch of sleet or more. Still the same criteria. It just means those conditions are expected or happening in the next 12 to 24 hours for that winter storm warning. So if anyone was confused about that, I'm hoping we were able to clarify that for you as well. We'll go over to A. Jordan. Carson says, does anybody know will the mail run? I don't know if the mail will run. Do you know if the mail will run? Do you know if the mail will run?
I'm not.
Hey, it doesn't say sleet, snow, rain, or shine. The mailman always comes or something like that. So I don't know the answer to that question.
The bigger issue is just make sure you be careful when you go and get your mail if it does run.
Yeah, don't slip and fall walking down your driveway and give yourself a concussion. Going out there to check the mail after, because you might not be able to see that it's slippery, but as soon as you go out there in your PJs and your slippers, you might end up head first on the concrete.
We've all seen those videos of people walking down the stairs and they're frozen. So
you don't want to be that
careful.
one. You don't want to be that one as well. I'll show you all again the winter storm watch warning, and well, it's not a winter storm watch anymore. It's been upgraded to a warning and the advisory here. So this is what we're looking at. In white here is a winter storm warning. Again, that is in effect from 7 a.m. Friday to 7 a.m. Saturday. That's when peak impacts are expected to be felt, really through midnight. And once we warm up Saturday, it'll be okay. But still, it will probably barely, maybe 4 or 5 degrees above freezing on Saturday before we refreeze Saturday night. It's going to be very hard to get around. If you do have to get around, just be careful. Just be real careful.
I agree. I do think the Saturday morning high temperature or Saturday afternoon high temperature forecast is very variable. There's a lot of things. It's very multifaceted. If there's snow on the ground or if there's ice still lingering around, that's going to cause a lot of problems with the ground trying to heat up. That snow and ice will keep the surface a little bit colder, so you're going to have to tick off a couple degrees off of that high just because of that. If we get a little bit more cold air because there's more snow on the ground towards our northwest, and that's going to be moving a little bit more colder air into place, so that's going to have to take a couple more temperature degrees off that as well. So it's very multifaceted, and we will have to keep you updated on the future on that. Right now, we can really say just a couple degrees above freezing is our best guess.
All right, and Emily Ann says, apologies if you've already answered this, but do y'all anticipate we'll lose power? That's a hard question to answer. I'll go back to what we said earlier about this. Is our main concern is being ice, and it'll also be dusty with winds after that as well. So here's our ice accumulations, which doesn't sound a lot, Emily, but it is enough to strain those power lines, to strain those tree limbs, and cause them to fall on power lines. So I wouldn't say we're expecting scattered power outages and to be out for 2 weeks. I would say that prepare to lose power. We're not expecting widespread power outages, but maybe just some power outages here and there. We'll try and keep track of that for you through tomorrow morning and through the day tomorrow. But I would say just prepare to lose. If you do lose power, just prepare to lose it through Sunday. If you do lose power. So just once you go in and you're in your house for the day Friday, just make sure you have everything you need through Sunday. Ignore that 0 over Atlanta. That's just missing data. It's in the middle of a model run. It's just missing data. But just be prepared for the possibility to be without power. if that answers your question, Emily. But yeah, well, we're going to stay on here for another 15 minutes. In case anyone has any questions, you can just drop them into the comments, and we will absolutely be able to answer those for you.
Unless it's about the mail.
Unless it is about the mail. Then we can't answer that. But we can answer anything that has to deal with weather and what you have questions about, what's going to happen, what you can do, and what you may want to do as well. I'll go over back to the let's go back to the winter storm watch map. Yeah, let's go show them back the winter storm warning. So basically, these are all everyone in North Georgia, north of I-20, is within that winter storm warning. And you can expect, again, those conditions to start to deteriorate beginning 7 a.m. on Friday morning, and then deteriorating after that as well.
And to reiterate, the winter storm warning is in place because starting right around 6 to 7 a.m., we will be seeing some snow make its way from the west here, trek its way across east. And that's going to be, as we go into the next couple hours after morning time, going into your lunchtime, we're going to have some warm air start to make its way on into the region here. And that's going to cause a little bit of a mess. That's going to cause a little bit more of a wintry mix, not so much snow. And by wintry mix, that means sleet, freezing rain, and maybe just a really cold rain for places a little bit further south below Atlanta. I do think north of Atlanta, we will be seeing mostly a wintry mix, not just a cold rain. I do think it is mostly wintry mix and snow in the morning, and then it will go into more of a wintry mix primarily after lunchtime. So that is what we mean by a winter storm warning. That is what you can expect. And after or during all that, towards the end of the day, going into your evening time, those winds will be picking up. So please expect that as well.
Absolutely. Hit the nail on the head. Wind gusts could be expected up to about 35 miles an hour on the day of. And I might click on something, everybody watching, that may be wrong. So just beware. I did not check this before the stream. This is proof that we're live. This is absolutely proof that we're live here.
This is all improv.
This is all improv.
So yes, as you guys can see, the next 24 hours, we will be trying to ramp up just a little bit in temps, or in winds, actually. Really, this is just probably sustained winds, so this is probably not gusts. We are expecting gusts up to 20, even a little bit more than 20 miles per hour for much of North Georgia, and it's not so bad, except we also need to factor in the weight that the ice accounts on power lines, on trees. This just adds to the force that power poles and trees are going to experience. So treat these as winds a little bit more powerful than just a 20 mile per hour wind gust, for sure. And yes, the ice accumulations, I mean, right now, all over a quarter of an inch of ice for much of North Georgia. Some places, especially here in Athens, this model runs really liking the idea of us hearing a half of an inch of ice accumulation until really going out until Saturday early morning at 1:30 a.m. That's really when all this is going to be making its way on out of here. So this is probably going to be our total ice accumulations, not a whole lot more than that. And it looks like we got our wind gusts coming up onto stage here.
Yeah, I got you your wind gusts here in just a second. Like, you can give me a little countdown here. I got you here in like 10 seconds. 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, you're going to have your wind gust forecast.
And the ball just dropped, folks. Oh, wait, it's going back up.
Bang, here's your wind gust forecast. Straight from one of our models. Proof we are actually live.
About what time is this, Malik?
This is about 11 a.m. Friday.
Okay.
You can also see that circulation coming in. This is also, we have precip right now at this point. You can see those gusts start to ramp up.
Yeah.
And the backside, 15, 14. Then after, this is Saturday morning, around 3 a.m. on Saturday morning. So there's probably still ice on trees. There's probably still wet on the roadways. There's still snow blowing around and about, and we'll see that those winds begin to really kick up towards 25 and 30 miles an hour there.
So you said this is going into Saturday?
Yes, this is Saturday, 8:35 a.m.
So this is really key. So we can see wind gusts nearing 30 miles per hour going into Saturday afternoon. This is a good thing, actually. It's going to be bringing a lot of cold air. That's our downside, but it's also going to be helping to evaporate that standing water on roads and that standing water on trees and power lines. It's going to be taking most of that away, leaving us with not a whole lot to refreeze, hopefully, going into Sunday morning. So hopefully going into Sunday morning, not a whole lot's left. Maybe some shady areas is where most of that liquid water is still kind of hanging out. But I have a feeling with those wind gusts topping out near 30 miles per hour, all that water, standing water on the roads is going to be mostly evaporated going into Sunday morning.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully it'll be liquid at that point. You'll be able to travel. But if it's frozen, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's the one downside. If it does stay cold due to all those possible possibilities, if there's a lot more snow on the ground, it keeps it a little bit colder. If it hasn't quite melted into a liquid state, then scratch all that I just said. We're going to have to rinse and repeat and hope for that to happen on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll give you all about. We're going to go off here at 6. We'll give you all about 9 more minutes if anyone has any questions. I'm just going to go back here and make sure I got everyone's question. If I didn't get your question, please say something, because I'm not perfect. I may have missed somebody, and I want to make sure that I got to everyone's question who had questions or concerns here. Want to make sure that everyone is satisfied. Or maybe if something was confusing, maybe we said something you didn't know what it means, or maybe we said something that didn't make sense. Just let us know so we can better explain that to you and help you all out so that you're comfortable going into this weekend with this winter weather event. Let's see here. Looks like I got everyone. Hopefully. So again, we want to reiterate, yes, it's fun to have snow. We're glad we're getting some winter weather, and I know that takes everybody's forethought. That's at the front of everybody's mind here. But do not forget that there is also the chance of ice, a high likelihood that we will experience all over North Georgia, except for maybe the mountains, a period of a wintry mix and accumulating ice as well, and that is not fun at all, especially if you get a glaze of ice on top of snow, and that is going to create hazardous, treacherous travel conditions as we go through the day Friday and into Saturday. So again, we don't want you to be on the roads if you don't have to, but if you want to play in the snow while it's still snowy, then you're going to want to get out there in the morning, I'd say before noon, before 11, just to be safe. So you can actually enjoy it before it turns into a sloppy, icy, gooey, goshy a mess that could occur. Is there anything you want to add, Justin? Maybe something else you might want to look at? Or?
Yeah, I would like to just kind of reiterate everything, just if there's anything, anybody new in here that didn't hear our previous questions or our answers. I guess just the big takeaway is that we are in a winter storm warning here in North Georgia. And basically what that means, from I-20 up to above, we are going to be seeing some pretty wintry conditions going into tomorrow. Our best guess is early in the morning, starting out 6 to 7 a.m. You guys are going to be seeing some flakes going to start working their way across, going east across North Georgia. And that's just going to be ramping up as we go into your later morning hours, going into lunchtime. That's when we could be seeing prime time snowflakes or prime time snowfall. But then after that, going into 1 p.m., I would say most of North Georgia will be transitioning into a wintry mix, except if you guys are up here in the northeast and into the northwest. That's where the mountains are. It's going to be a little bit colder up there. That's where some of those more colder temperatures are. That's where the more snow is going to most likely going to persist for longer. But for the rest of us here in North Georgia, that wintry mix will be starting to become more dominant starting about 1 to 2 o'clock, and then it will continue that way going into the rest of the evening. And that will really conclude your weather event. After about 5 o'clock, it's going to start dying on out a little bit. It's going to be kind of easing up in terms of intensity. You still will see a couple showers of freezing rain, sleet, maybe even a snowflake here and there going into your later hours of the evening, but really by midnight, I think we can really put a bow on this thing and call it a day in terms of the active precipitation, not in terms of ice accumulation or maybe even snow accumulation up here in the mountains especially. In terms of ice accumulation, that's going to be persisting into Saturday, unfortunately. As we go into Friday night, there's going to be freezing temperatures. All that freezing rain, sleet, it's going to freeze on the roads, it's going to freeze on trees, power lines, and that's going to cause them to go down. Sometimes it is not, that's going to be more of an isolated threat, but I would say prepare for the worst. Prepare for the power to go out, prepare for a tree or two to fall down on the roads. So please go out and get those groceries if you can to at least last you into Sunday is what we are saying. If you guys can make it until Sunday at about lunchtime, that is when most of the freezing on the roads is going to start dying on out. It's going to be melted. There's not going to be too much of a hazard on the roads for you guys to go out and get some more food or go off to go back to work or whatever you guys are doing or whatever your plans are Sunday. So I would say Saturday is going to be the last day of this. It will linger on through Saturday, but I would say Sunday afternoon, this is when all of its impacts are really wrapping up and said and done.
And Emily Ann, before we sign off here in the next 5 minutes or so, she asks, y'all are great. Will y'all be covering the winter storm as it happens on y'all's Facebook page tomorrow? We may not be in the building. Well, we may not be in a traditional video capacity here tomorrow, but you can look for your posts. Our post on the on here and on the Facebook and Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll update you there. We may be updating you through the night if we see something change. So just stay here on the page because we may not have access to the building tomorrow because of campus not being open and a variety of other factors like us traveling from our places in Athens. So we'll be updating you as much as we can. Just may not be on a live video with the green screen, and we'll update with you with some graphics as we can, and we'll try to explain it. But if something changes, we'll be there for you, Emily, for sure.
If something big changes, we will try to get that on out for you. But besides that, expect at least an update once or twice within a day. If it really kind of stays steady and kind of rides out like how we're predicting it, snow in the early mornings, transitioning to a wintry mix towards the later part of the day, then I would expect maybe 1 or 2 more updates going into Friday. But if something crazy happens, then please stay tuned. We will be there to provide that information for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be here for another 2 minutes, minute and a half, 2 minutes, just in case somebody comes in late that would like to have a question answered. We want to give them the opportunity to have that question answered. Again, for everyone that's been here watching us, we appreciate y'all. We're doing this for everyone in the Athens area and the Atlanta area. If you have questions or anything like that, but after we go off the air, we'll answer them. We'll try to get to them as soon as we can. Again, but yeah, we're the WeatherDawgs. I'm student meteorologist Malik Bryant. Justin, you want to introduce yourself again?
Sir, I can. I am student meteorologist Justin Williams. I appreciate you guys being here with us today.
Yeah, and we are just about ready to wrap things up here. If y'all like us doing stuff like this for just any type of weather event that comes through the North Shore of the area, just let us know. Let us know what we can do to help you, help us improve the page, as we are here students at the University of Georgia, and this is where all of us are learning together as we embark and try to get the skills we need to go out into the workforce. And this is what we love to do. This is what we want to do for the rest of our lives, and this is what we do to help you.
Again, please continue to ask questions if you guys have any going in the next 24, maybe even going into 48 hours. If you guys have any questions on any of the active precipitation that's happening tomorrow, please let us know. We will try our best to get back with you and answer those questions for you no matter what time. It can be tomorrow, be today, midnight. I'm sure somebody's going to be awake waiting for that snow to come on in tomorrow morning.
All right, and that'll be it from the WeatherDawgs today. Hopefully y'all got your questions in. If you have any more questions or comments or concerns, just put them in under one of our posts in the comments, and somebody will get back to you as well. That'll be it for us today. We'll keep you updated if anything changes. We want to thank y'all for watching, and we want to thank y'all for listening as well. We're gone.
Thank you, guys.